Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the SEO Club. Today, I am joined by fantastic Dirk Schembri, and we'll be discussing together how to get into SEO, why to get into SEO, which personality traits you should have, should not have, and is this a path for you? Why did I choose Dirk? Dirk is an excellent SEO, but he's self taught based on his curiosity and his skills as a developer. Hello, Dirk, and thank you for coming to us and accepting the invitation.
Thank you for the invite, Ivana. So yeah, from my end, I'm Dirk Schembri. I've been in the industry for quite some time, both as a developer and SEO as well. So I started off as a developer. That's how I graduated and got into the industry, and quite quickly fell into the SEO kind of game as well. So I used my technical skills to start scraping sites. This was back in 2012, where literally I used to build raw CMSs to simply crawl websites, scrape websites, and rebuild them accordingly to the requirements of the business. So yeah, it's been a very challenging couple of months or year or so with the new updates. So yeah, we'll definitely be discussing that.
Absolutely, we will be. So, what makes you from a developer that is very challenging and very good job, let's be honest, turn into SEO that is extremely uncertain?
So I think from my end, I mean, I started off as a developer, as that is the kind of career I chose when I was doing the education part of things. But from an SEO perspective, it just kept on coming back with the companies I was working with, and it was just so interesting to seeing how certain effect you do on a website can have such a drastic influence both on the company, website, revenue. And if you really get good at certain things, I mean, you become such a great asset within a company, whether it's for someone else or your own as well. So the value of it was quite significant, and I could see that.
So, I would say number one trait of a good SEO is curiosity. That seems to be very much coming across from you. Curiosity, why this is ranking, why this is not ranking, I changed it, and why is it, what is it doing, right?
Definitely, and I think they go hand in hand with developer as to be a good. I won't say that I was a good developer at that end, but at least to be a developer, you have to be very experimental. You have to make sure you get your hands dirty. You're gonna break stuff. God knows how many sites I've broken, both from a dev and an SEO point of view. So you have to be the one to get your hands dirty. If you're just about old theory, I believe if you're going to be in the SEO industry, you'll be quite what we call very white and by the rules, which can be limiting.
Absolutely. In SEO, you have to run tests to learn to move. Are you running any interesting tests right now? Anything you would like to share with us, or is it hush hush?
I wouldn't say hush hush. I mean, AI is always definitely a big game. I'm not stating that I'm using AI simply by just creating content plain, but I'm more using it as a tool to facilitate any process we do, whether that's content building, coding. I'm even example for any AI right now. I'm using it heavily to automate tools for our content writing team. So I'm actually writing scripts within either Google Docs or Google Sheets that automate certain entries as well. And AI is perfect for kind of a one-centric thing you would need to get done. So if you want something to literally, you want to add these internal links within a content, you can create very specific app scripts within certain things that can automate it for one specific task. And that's been very, very helpful.
Fantastic. I think this is the thing. People misunderstood usage of AI in SEO, iGaming content anywhere. They just think I use ChatGPT to write my content. I am using AI. You are not. You're cheating, first of all, and you are not using it to its full potential. There is a fantastic person called Jonathan, and he creates his AI tools. I will put a link to the description so you can follow him. But he just built so many SEO AI tools, and I love testing them. Some of them work better, some of them work worse, some just don't work in some languages, but they always work. And he makes one for schema markup, another one for content scraping, another one for internal links, and constantly something. I think you're doing basically the same. You are a Jonathan of iGaming.
I believe that that's the way to do it. I mean, yeah, we do use it for content to generate content briefs. So we make sure that once, example, like a general content brief from an editor, we pass it through a lot of different commands that we are automating within AI, and we make sure that example the tables are used correctly, when there's a sort of you're comparing products or something, you're not just using data, something like a table where it is not optimal to be used, and you're not just using paragraphs to explain everything. So for these sort of things, it's been hugely beneficial as well. Like for honestly natively translating some things, we do use AI to facilitate certain things. If you do Google Translate, you don't get the native tongue of certain things, but with AI that can be improved as well. So if you're finding it difficult to find someone native within that language, AI can help you, but you have, again, you can't just go and natively translate this to Japanese. You have to make sure that there's certain steps done as well to make sure that you try to give the optimal results as well.
I wasn't being rude playing with my phone. I just make myself a note to put Jonathan's link into our description because I'm an old
No
person. I'll
worries.
definitely forget. Yes, AI is changing everything, but back to the basics because lots of people listen to it
Yes.
thinking, should I get to SEO? What would you say are the first things come to mind you should or should not get to SEO? I would say don't get into SEO if you're extremely impatient. I'm an impatient person. I suffer every day of my job and I love my job, okay? But I suffer because I want the results yesterday. So that would be number one. Can you work with being extremely impatient to wait 6 months to have results? Number one, what would you say?
I think that is the biggest hard thing if you're trying to sell that to your manager or your boss, or even if you're freelance, such as myself, where I run my own agency, is trying to explain to a client, like, listen, this is not like paid, where we're going to put something, we're going to see direct results. There's a sort of leeway we always give, and honestly, like 6 months is a minimum aspect to see some drastic results. So explaining that is the hardest thing. It gives more leeway. SEO is a marathon. If anyone comes in thinking it's a sprint, I'll be honest, if it's working, they're doing some very black hat stuff, which can work for very temporary stuff, but they usually go down as quickly as they go up.
Absolutely, but it is a business for someone. They just want to do, you know, build, burn, make money, build, burn, make money, and
Yes, that's an
it
approach. If
it
that's your
is an
approach,
approach.
yes,
It's fair if that's your thing. We don't
absolutely,
criticize it. It wouldn't be mine, but yeah. So,
absolutely.
what would be the other trait when you should get to SEO? Curiosity. Don't get to it if you are impatient. What would you recommend? If you are this, you should definitely be SEO.
Is again curious testing things as well. I mean, the game is so vast. You have to make sure that you understand. You're going to understand the marketing aspect from all aspect of things. So you're understanding how a site is actually presented from not just Google, honestly, from any sort of search engine. So you must understand the benefit of, listen, if you are ranking for a sort of product name, what will be the benefit if you can get within the first page, the first half page, the first top 3 pages, if you get into the featured snippet of things. It's understanding that, listen, this even one position can have a drastic revenue income in that as well. So what's interesting as well is I always like to, if I'm working for, I'll be honest, if I used to work for a company, I would always buy a website myself and test it out myself. So that is one thing. I'm very much hands-on. I've always been that sort of personality that if I get very much interested into one thing, I get fixated on it. If you're doing it to make a quick buck, you think that, listen, it's just going to get you in and stuff. I would not recommend it in that case. There are other aspects you can get to, and being that as well, I don't believe you can get a degree, a master's, with a bachelor's of anything in SEO. It's more general marketing. This has to be something you do hands-on, something you search for, the podcast you follow, like yourself. I follow a mastermind as well. We meet up 3 times weekly where we discuss the latest things. And yeah, you have to be very much passionate about it. If you're doing it just to get into the industry, I don't believe that it's recommended because you will not last.
Passionate, I think that's the word. I absolutely believe in testing. I always run my own websites where I test and I try to break them. Like, what's the breaking point for indexation, for AI content? Some of them surprisingly rank extremely well with AI content. I'm like, why are you ranking? I try to break you. The ones that I try not to break, of course, break. So you have to be prepared for the things that you cannot prepare, obviously, in SEO as well. And as well, I think you need to try to have the personality of breaking rules because you do something and it sort of works, right? And then we get into that comfortable, well, this worked last time, let's do it again. But you forget that people are upgrading their game and they're doing something new, and you need to do as well. So I think if you want to get that position one, what worked 2 years ago might not work now. And you need to be a little bit of creative. I think people don't understand that SEOs, we are seen as this technical nerds that just love to, concentrate on this one little thing and get it wrong. And wow, we're so happy. But we have to be creative. We are not seen as creative people, but we have to be. Without that, without creativity, we wouldn't have Parasite SEO. We wouldn't have Blackhead SEO. We wouldn't do any of that. We would just play by the rules that Google tells us. Do this, don't do this. And we wouldn't rank really. We would not rank in iGaming.
You hit on a very good point. I think as a character trait, as a good SEO, a character trait would be someone that is not afraid of uncertainty. As you said, let's like replicate this thing. But the problem is even replicating the same site, same structure, same everything within a different domain name, a different geo can have quite significantly drastic results. So that sort of uncertainty as well, going in and being creative is definitely one aspect of characteristic you need as well. And again, I think a person who doesn't go by the rules, who likes to, I wouldn't say break the rules, but likes to step on the line between what is, instructed to do, I think you have to be a bit more daring. I'm not stating you have to do something illegal, far from it. Even when I talk about black hat stuff, I never talk about anything illegal. It's just someone that, listen, just because Google says to do this by this, if you do that by that only, you will not get far.
Absolutely. Google gives you advice that they don't follow themselves. So read, but don't really read with understanding, but don't follow to the dot, right?
Google is like a parent.
Yeah.
It tells you what you should do, but and then doesn't follow what it does do. I mean, we try, I guess, as parents as well, you try to tell your kid not to do this, but let's face it, we've all done that as a child and probably still do it as well. We just try to hide stuff. And that is what Google is. I mean, it tries that to try to keep everyone in line. I do understand the aspect of it, of what Google is trying to do. But then again, you have to be realistic and you cannot penalize someone for testing stuff.
Yes, because if we don't test, we don't show Google do what is possible. I think we're creating Google to be better because we keep pushing good creative SEOs, keep pushing Google's boundaries, and then they're discovering what's still possible. I don't think we would have any of the updates and Penguin and Panda and all of that if we wouldn't try to gain it. I used to do keyword stuffing 16 years ago. I mean, I was like,
yeah,
I was working in adult, so the adult word would appear not 2 times on a page, it was 2,000 out of 3,000. It would be that, and it ranked fantastically, and then it just suddenly didn't one day. But that's because we broke it, so Google had to adjust because it was not quality anymore. Back to the basics. I'm going to be saying that quite a lot because we always stray to the advanced things, as we are both in it for quite a while. We're like grandmother and grandfather of iGaming SEO. But let's brush up on the 3 basics of SEO: content, off-page, and technically. You recently ran a very beautiful webinar on links, so maybe you can give us the main takeaways from that. It was really, really good one. If you missed it, shame on you.
So yeah, I think in the case of backlinks, it is, again, probably the most important apart from content on page. Again, when I mean links as well, backlinks, I think the importance of backlinks is the internal links. The internal links are so important, particularly as any project. When you backlink is practically getting authority or kind of juice, let's call it, from other websites who's giving you kind of that you're an expert within a field. It's like, listen, you get a recommendation from a friend, listen, we have something wrong, a doctor, go to this doctor. This is exactly what the backlink is. And Google sees these as well and creates you more as an authority. Now I know, okay, the buying of aspect, whatever it is. But again, depending on the industry you're in, is how aggressive you're going to have to be. If a competitor has a certain amount of people talking about it, backlinks, you have to see how to kind of get that sort of same authority. I'm not going to go in and buy the exact backlinks that they get or get the same backlinks. But again, you have to be creative in ways to get them as well. But yeah, that's definitely, there are lots of trainings you can do on this, both on-page technical and stuff. In the case of trainings, I do like, example, LinkedIn as well have their, what was lynda.com. That is a fantastic place as well. But sort of look online and see what YouTube channels, there are a lot I know. I can give a name of a certain one if that's all right with you, Ivana, who
Of
I
course,
follow and I
please.
speak to
This is for
regularly.
people to learn. It's promote anyone you like. We even please send me a link to your webinar so I can link it so people can watch it if it was recorded.
Absolutely, yeah. I go
Please.
through all the sort of different backlinks, but someone who definitely you can start off by following, who want to get into the game, he starts from the basic and is obviously a brand name in himself, is Craig Campbell. I do know him
Absolutely,
very
Craig.
well personally as well, so we meet up 3 times a week as well, and he's one who, if you want to get started, he has an excellent free foundational video structure. So go in, see what he's doing as well.
Oh no, he's brilliant.
He's brilliant from that, and so definitely a good person to start off with and see if you like what there is there.
And as well, he does all the black hat stuff. I mean, if you want to, he's one of the criminal minds that break the boundaries. I wish to have mind like him or Charles Float, like, they think of what's going to be next. I don't. I just then follow and I'm like, wow, how did they come up with it? But if you want to be one of the first one to leech off someone else's knowledge, Craig is definitely one to follow.
Yeah, Charles Float is as well very good. I think he's a bit more advanced. So start with Craig and then go to Charles Float. He's a bit, yeah, definitely more. I mean, Charles Float has done so many experiments himself as well. I mean, these are super successful SEO people who've been in it for a long time. And any successful person has got into somehow black hat or has done things that Google has not suggested. Otherwise, there's no way of long-term success just on SEO.
So this was the backlinks little bit. Now on page you're strong. I know you even spoke in Brighton SEO about keyword clustering. So main points of that. I mean, the basic on page, I think we understand. You need to have a great content. You need to do your keyword research. You need to do the internal links, as you said, for the stability of the websites, for distributing the SEO juice. But as well, if you want to rank for internal pages, you definitely need internal links. But what would be the main thing? I know it's a 20-minute talk, so you don't have 20 minutes here, but what was the main thing you said on Brighton that you would want people to remember, even the ones that have not seen your podcast or, sorry, your speech?
So it's to break down the structure of your site before you start populating and try to future-proof the way you're going to create content. Again, being in casino, I might mention that, but you have to make sure you have the main pillars as in the main pages, whether that's going to be the payment, bonus, reviews. So that's going to be your main pillar pages. Then the cluster pages are going to be other pages that are related to this, but sub more detailed topics within them. So it's important that when you create this sort of page structure, how are you going to link them? How are you going to make sure that you don't repeat the same content from one to another? You might mention, example, on the reviews page, you mention a specific reviewer, but you don't go into detail. You go into detail by linking. You're making sure that this structure is broken down as much as possible. This gets very tricky for e-commerce websites. I think that needs, if you're doing an e-commerce website, you do require specialized expertise in that, as it requires almost the same iGambling experience for just that. But you have to make sure, because if you just start populating pages, I don't know, a product page review directly from your root, and you just let it be, you can't have all the links linked from your homepage. You might have them in your sitemap, but how are you going to make sure you don't have what we call orphan pages? You have to make sure that all your pages within the site are linked correctly. You don't want to have a real sub-page on a product review when you're linking about it on a page that is really very little related to that. So yeah, that's the case of the pillar content structure. It's kind of the mapping of it and make it a bit high level so you can create new pages and it will be quite easy to distinguish where everything should go.
And give it a little bit of hierarchy. Not everything is the same weight of
Yes.
importance.
Both in URL structure as well. This is why before you create a website, you try to get the URL structure in place.
Absolutely. Good. So I think we went through the basics. Fantastic. We went through your experience and we are 19 minutes in. I mean, I know with you, I can just talk.
Almost.
So what would be the last thing you want people to really remember? And can we see you speaking anytime soon, anywhere? Because you're a fantastic speaker and it's always a pleasure to talk to you or see you on a stage because you even bring that energy. So do we get to see you anywhere sometime soon?
I've been taking a back seat. I wish I'm as motivated as you to go speak, Ivana. You seem to, I'm surprised at the amount of talks you actually are willing to travel for. So hats off to that. And that's what I
Thank
say.
you.
I really need to do more from that aspect. There are certain ones I definitely would love to go again. So yeah, I'll try to keep up with you. Till now, no, I do not have anything planned on it, honestly. But yeah, in the case of one topic, hearing SEO is dead, that's, I believe, far from the truth. What is definitely the truth is that SEO is drastically changing. So if you, again, you're not a creature to learn new things that is constantly adapted, you just want to do things, keyword cannibalization. If we're not changing personality, we'll still be trying to do that. You have to be someone willing to learn new stuff and always willing to change new stuff. So that has to get you excited. If that doesn't get you excited, then yeah, again, SEO might not be the right profession.
Thank you so much for sharing, and I really hope that you will be on a stage sometime soon. If yes, please let us know. I will definitely come to see you talk. Maybe Sigma. I mean, Sigma is in November. Maybe let's aim for that.
Definitely,
Let's do that.
definitely. Let's do
Good.
that.
Thank you so much. If you like this video, please follow our channel, subscribe, and come back for more. I will definitely ask Dirk to join us for more, maybe advanced topics, because this was basics, and Dirk is a well of knowledge of advanced stuff, but we're just tapping in lightly right now. Thank you very much. Bye.
Thank you, Vana. Thanks, everyone.
Okay.